Welcome to Lifelong Education's interview podcast series as we journey with our guests to everyday presence. I'm Linda Wright, your hostess for Lifelong Education's podcast for stress management systems that help to manage stress and live a calmer, more fulfilling, mindful life. I have the pleasure of interviewing some very interesting fellow travelers from many walks of life. In today's podcast, Terri McGee, an artist and meditator, will be sharing her journey through life's ups and downs and reveal what helped her find greater well-being founded in everyday presence. Lifelong Education is a state and federally chartered nonprofit organization headquartered in Austin, Texas, and is dedicated to fostering ethical education and integral human development for all ages. We aim to empower people by providing innovative training and certification programs that address the needs of today's world while nurturing values that cultivate peace, expand human consciousness, and catalyze positive societal change. Stress management systems is one area of lifelong education coursework. It is designed to manage the stressors that affect our bodies, minds, emotions, and our well-being. Anyone of any age can make use of these kinds of teachings and exercises. As an elementary Montessori teacher, we started our day with stress management techniques that fit the personal or the community needs. We also used various mindfulness techniques with individual students or groups of students. And we did that throughout the day to improve focus, to settle arguments, to have fun, to develop greater body or emotional awareness, and to improve life altogether in the school community, building confidence individually and as a group. If a child can do it, so can we. We just need to learn how and then do it. There are many benefits to living mindfully and managing stress. Mindfulness can help us enjoy the beauties of life, such as walks in nature and enjoying a delicious meal, or appreciating our friends and acquaintances and opportunities. Stress management can help us manage everyday stressors, such as time crunchers, children arguing, or financial pressures. It also helps us cope with traumatic losses, stresses such as the loss of a loved one, divorce, career failure, or a serious health challenge. In our inward focus on life, it helps us develop awareness of the inner richness of our own inner worlds. Lifelong Education's coursework includes free class offerings, as well as reasonably priced courses from trained professionals in the field. At the end of the podcast, we'll give details on our free weekly mindfulness practices beginning September 27th of this year, as well as our reasonably priced, more robust 9-week mindfulness course starting in late January of 2026. Like and subscribe to receive updates on our podcast interviews with teachers, college professors, business entrepreneurs, AI engineers, healthcare professionals, parents, grandparents, and others from many walks of life. Also receive updates on our free online weekly mindfulness protocols. And now we're going to get into the heart of today's podcast with our guest, Terri McGee, who is going to share how she found ways to relieve stress and experience everyday presence. Her journey surprisingly led her to a fulfilling career and a deeper discovery about life, happiness, passion, and purpose. But first, a little background on Terri. Terri McGee is an artist and a meditator. She has been painting for over 30 years and meditating for over 20. She's had several meditation teachers and has practiced various different meditation techniques, including sitting meditations, those used while lying down, standing, and walking meditations. For the past 15 years, she has intentionally combined meditation and painting to empower greater levels of transformation, consciousness, and healing in her life. Terri is very passionate about meditation because it has played a large role in her process of overcoming a 10-year health challenge, as well as a source of abundant inspiration and soul wisdom that deepened her artistic journey and her love for life. She has facilitated workshops combining intuitive painting with meditation that I have attended, and has exhibited her artwork for many years in the Austin, Texas area, including a series called Meditative Insights. Currently, she's launching a new website called rememberingradiance.com, where she will share her journey of self-realization, healing, and art. And now we begin our podcast with Terri. Terri, do you find that painting supports you in managing stress? And if so, when did you first discover this?
Yes, absolutely. I've been painting and drawing since I was a kid, since I was a little child. And for me, art came very natural as a way of going inward and just being in my own world where I felt very safe and free to be myself, regardless of what was going on in the world around me. And of course, I didn't really know to consider it to be stress management at the time, but I can see now that painting always made me feel better in very stressful situations like my parents divorcing, navigating between two families, and bouncing between different school systems growing up, and all the stress that can come with that situation. So, yeah, absolutely. Painting definitely helped me.
What about as a teenager and a young adult? What kind of stressors were in your life, and did painting help you manage that stress?
Yeah, I think as a teenager and young adult, I had some pretty common stressors like relationship challenges and difficult family dynamics, financial pressure, as well as like world events that I was perceiving with a lot of fear at the time. And painting gave me a safe inner space to integrate and digest my experiences and thoughts and emotions. And I just knew that I felt better when I painted, and I felt disconnected and anxious when I didn't.
Well, why do you think painting was so helpful?
I think painting was helpful because it gave me access to presence, much like meditation does. So when I'm painting, I'm not really thinking in the way of trying to mentally figure something out. It's more of a listening for something. Like I'm listening for the next creative impulse, like a color or a shape. And that listening for state is very similar to a simple awareness state or a presence state. And I just think those states are so special because they open up an inner spaciousness for like like unconscious thoughts and emotions and memories, much of which are stress related, right? And it just allows those things to kind of bubble up in my conscious awareness while I'm painting to be released or resolved in some way. It's kind of like a cleansing for my psyche. And I just would feel so much more harmony after I painted. And, I would also receive like just profound insights during the painting process and energy of inspiration and passion and freedom and play, and often I would also receive just hugely beneficial shifts in perspectives. And I think it's so interesting that I've received much of those same benefits during meditation.
When did you discover meditation? What made you want to learn to meditate?
So, yeah, I found meditation in my mid 20s. It was about 2 years after an 8-year relationship with my partner at the time had shifted. And I had to figure out all over again who I was. My identity at the time was very intertwined within the context of that relationship. So I had this feeling that I had completely lost my footing on who I thought I was. And that was a very difficult time, but it also ignited a very powerful awakening and transformational process within me. And that was the beginning of my awareness of the mind body connection. And, it was the first time that I was seeing how my inner world of past beliefs and emotions and thoughts were directly correlating with my experience of my outer world. And that was huge for me. It was just huge. So I started the work of inner transformation at that time period, my mid 20s. And when I initiated that inner work, life brought to me an amazing teacher and a beautiful meditation community and this awesome opportunity to practice meditating regularly. So that was the beginning of my meditation journey.
What areas of your life improved with meditation?
So I would say the quality of my life overall improved pretty quickly after I started to meditate. Um, just I experienced a greater amount of love and harmony in my life overall. And my family relationships changed and improved. And I actually met my beautiful husband shortly after my meditation journey began. So lots of good things.
Okay, in regards to your health challenge that you went through, did that begin before or after you started meditating and practicing meditation?
That actually started after I began my meditation practice. It was a total surprise. About 2 years into my regular meditation practice, in 2009, my body got very sick. My body developed a chronic digestive related illness, and it lasted for 10 years. And it was actually very debilitating and quite serious at times. My world shrank a lot, and I experienced a form of physical limitation that was very new to me and very difficult.
What did you do to heal?
So I had done enough inner work by that time to know that there had to have been some unconscious part of myself that was creating the expression of that illness. Like I just knew there was like some transformation of consciousness that was needed. So I dove deeper into meditation and I also integrated intuitive painting and a lot of journaling and just oh yeah, and also this practice that I called empowered intention questions. But all of this was just to help me to access guidance and insight and a greater perspective of my situation. So I also took several human development courses, human potential courses, and as far as physical treatment protocols for my body, I did everything. I did Western medicine, Eastern medicine, naturopathic medicine, yoga, diet, acupuncture, supplements, and pretty much everything in between. And, even though I did not overcome that illness until 2019, I realize now that the entire 10-year journey was necessary for my conscious evolution, like my conscious expansion. The entire 10-year process was needed. So I'm very grateful for it now.
What role did meditation play in your healing?
So I would say that meditation played a pretty big role in my healing. in that it helped me to expand my consciousness. It it helped me to better recognize and observe the unconscious beliefs, the automatic mental emotional habits from my past. I learned that these unconscious conditioned patterns from my past were operating automatically in my body underneath the radar of my conscious awareness and continuously stimulating the release of survival stress chemicals, creating illness and imbalance in my body. So, the better I got at redirecting my attention to present moment awareness by practicing it in meditation, the more power I had in my day to recognize and stop those old thoughts and old emotions and to consciously choose new thoughts and new emotions. And eventually, this stopped the release of the stress chemicals and generated balancing chemicals that allowed my body to heal. So, for me, meditation played a huge role in that it increased my awareness and it helped me better observe myself.
You developed so much awareness in your journey. Um, Now, when did you start your art career and what led you to start that business?
While I was still in the middle of the healing journey, I would often receive these profound downloads, like profound wisdom downloads and soul knowings or heart knowings that were just just way beyond my current understanding at the time. And these downloads would come in the form of visions during meditation. And these visions were so supportive and inspiring to me that I began to paint them. So in 2013, I felt this intuitive call to open an art studio so that I could share these paintings with the community. So that's what I did. And then in 2014, I started to facilitate integrative workshops combining meditation with intuitive painting. And I did that because I wanted to help others to experience the just the beautiful wisdom downloads and insights and harmony and joy and freedom and play and passion and perspective shifts that come when in the flow of an alive, creative, and meditative process. So yeah, that was how that art business came about.
And I so much enjoyed attending your workshops on that because rather than just learning about processes, we were learning to go within and tap into that intuitive awareness and be
You
able
know what?
to paint that.
I
And
found that I'm sorry, I found a picture of us in that workshop together just a few
oh,
days ago.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And the painting behind you is an example to our viewers of your intuitive art, the visions that you have and the intuitive art that you paint. Um, Now you mentioned that it took 10 years for you to heal from that digestive illness, a very uncomfortable time in your body.
Mm.
When you realized that you were finally getting better, what do you think supported that change after nearly 10 years?
So, yeah, the big game changer for me as far as noticeable physical change in my body started happening in 2018 when I learned in greater detail how damaging chronic stress is on the body and how we can turn on that stress response just through thinking certain thoughts, feeling certain emotions over and over again without even being aware of it. So when I learned that, I got very motivated to then learn everything I could to use my thoughts, my emotions, my breath and meditation to then turn off that stress response and get my body back into balance. So I got very interested in studying more about the brain, like um, neuroplasticity and epigenetics, and then also other areas of study like quantum physics. And I started to follow these teachers who combined meditation and other practices with these areas of study. So, with this new information integrated with my meditation practice, it really opened up a whole new possibility to heal my body. And I did. I had a lot of help along the way, but I healed my body. By the end of 2019, I was largely healed. I mean, celebration healed.
Yes, celebration time. Are there any other insights about meditation that you would like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, you know, I am so grateful that I have been taught meditation. Not only did it help me to lower stress, which it did and it does, but it also helped me to stay connected with the possibility that I could create health in my body again. And, I think anyone who has lived through a very long term, chronic, debilitating illness or health condition can probably relate to how important it is to keep that possibility alive. And meditation certainly helped me to do that. It helped me to access a dimension within myself that was never touched by illness. And that is always connected to wholeness, no matter what is going on. And for that, I'm so grateful for that.
And what inspires you to continue meditating?
Yeah, I do. I do continue to meditate. And the reason is because the world can give us a lot of temptations to engage with stressful situations and stressful perceptions. And so meditation for me is like my daily vitamin. I take it every day. It helps me stay strong within myself and helps me to be calm and connected and just to create my life with a lot more joy and consciousness. So, yeah.
I like that. I like seeing meditating as taking your daily vitamin.
Yeah.
Um, Now, on a normal day that has some stressors, what is your go-to method of meditation or related activity that helps you as some of these normal everyday stressors arise?
So I do have a daily sitting meditation that I do. However, there is a related practice that is very helpful for me in the moment. And um, so when we feel stressed, we tend to breathe very shallow up in our chest. And we also tend to narrow our focus on the problem, on the stressful situation, really narrowed focus. So when I feel that rush of stress chemicals and anxiousness and tension in my body, my go-to is to just do the opposite of all that. So I take several very deep and slow belly breaths. And then at the same time, I'm slowly breathing in my belly. I broaden my focus by opening my attention to the space around me. So I just breathe deeply in my belly, open my attention to the space around me, and I do that a few times, and that really helps me to self-regulate and turn off that stress response.
Yeah, I think most of us do experience everyday stress in some form or another. So it's good that we can turn to those. Now, let's take a look at what happens when we're going through a traumatic stress response. In times of difficulty or traumatic stress, what kind of meditation or related activity helps you the most?
I'm really glad that you asked this question. It gives me an opportunity to share. I went through a very difficult grieving process a few years ago when a loved one passed. And there were, well, I had to be very careful with really strong emotions because too much of that stress chemical in my body could trigger the old illness again. So I had to balance allowing myself to grieve with keeping my body in autonomic regulation the best I could. So there were three practices that were really helpful for me. And the first one was that I gave myself time every day to grieve. I gave myself 20 minutes or so, and if I needed more time, I would give it to myself. but designated time to feel my feelings, to cry, to journal, to just allow every grief emotion to just arise and to be felt. And then at the end of that time, I would close my journal and I would say to myself, I know you're grieving, and I will give you time every day to feel, express, and to be heard. But now it's time for us to focus on thoughts, feelings, and activities that bring us joy and that elevate our emotions and that generate the balancing chemicals that our body needs. Like, I would say this to myself every day, and so then I would do that to the best of my ability. And the second practice I did was to practice belly breathing and laughter, especially during the really, really heavy, intense grief period. I would make myself take very deep belly breaths on the inhale, and on the exhale, I would make laughter sounds. And I did this 5 to 10 minutes every day. And I made myself do it even when I did not feel funny, I did not feel fun, I did not feel joyful, but I made myself do it because the beautiful thing about laughter as a practice is that the brain really doesn't know the difference between an authentic laughter and a mechanical exercise of laughter sounds. So for me, this was really helpful in stimulating the release of feel good chemicals like serotonin and oxytocin. And that helped me to elevate my emotional state and really lower the volume of that grief stress in my body. So that was huge for me. And then the third one was that I practiced reframing a very persistent thought that came up for me at that time. I noticed that every time I would think to myself or say to myself, but really to my loved one who passed, I miss you. I miss you. I noticed that my body generated enormous amounts of sadness and despair. Like, I could feel it immediately. So when I noticed that, I changed and reframed that thought to, I love you. I love you. And I noticed that when I did that, my body generated emotions of love and appreciation. So I made it a habit to reframe that thought as much as I needed to. And because, as you know, the energy of love and appreciation, those are healing energies. So so those 3 were just so helpful during a very difficult time. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to share that.
Well, thank you for sharing that very deep, heartfelt experience. Um, to sum things up, what would you say to our viewers here?
Yeah, so I guess I would say, my journey so far has led me to understand that when when we go inward and connect with ourselves in a deeper way, like through meditation, creative process, journaling, walks in nature, we can access a dimension within ourselves that is greater than the stressful situation, the limitation situation that we may be experiencing in the moment. And when we practice enough times, thinking and feeling and connecting to ourselves is greater than these stress situations or these limitation situations, we become empowered with energy to change our lives in very, very beautiful and profound ways. And I just want to share that. And I'm so thankful for you, Linda, in giving me this opportunity to share. And I hope we can inspire some people with these conversations to really go inward and connect and to remember your radiance.
And thank you so much for your sharing. We really appreciate that you have shared so deeply with us. And I would like to share with our viewers a slide that shows Terri's website that she has coming up. Again, you can follow Terri's healing journey and view her art in her up-and-coming website, rememberingradiance.com. Also, her up-and-coming YouTube channel launch date will be announced on her website. Thank you so much, Terri, for sharing your journey with us. In today's podcast, we heard from Terri, who traveled a journey that began as a child, finding something that she loved so much, her art, which also served as a relief from the stress in her young life. Her journey led her to a mindfulness path of self-discovery that moved her from just surviving this life to thriving both inwardly and outwardly. The point is, you can too find your unique, greater well-being and everyday presence. I've experienced how mindfulness practices and stress management can create a big difference in my life experience. My road traveled in these areas began many years ago with the tragic loss of a loved one, resulting in a traumatic stress response of panic attacks twice daily at the same times. My only resource at the time for dealing with such extreme anxiety was a pamphlet describing a meditation that used slow, deep breathing. The first time that I did the meditation was during a panic attack. It was gone in 10 minutes. Over time, with consistent use of the technique, the panic episodes reduced in frequency and intensity until finally they stopped altogether. From the use of that meditation, my explorations into the many forms and uses of mindfulness and stress management have grown both for living life in the external world and also enriching my inner world of conscious awareness and states of being. Living more fully in everyday presence now equips me to live the wide range of human experience more peacefully, lovingly, happily, and make wiser choices. It guides me into greater enjoyment of life's beautiful gifts in the bounty of the natural world, in enjoying my children and my grandchildren, and in my friendships and many of the other blessings I have in my life. In this podcast today, we hope you found hope and inspiration to meet whatever challenges that you have in life, as well as to simply enjoy your life's journey. Lifelong education also offers other courses, including free 30-minute YouTube mindfulness stress relieving practices taught by trained professionals that help you move from a life of just surviving to that of thriving physically, mentally, emotionally, and perhaps spiritually. Our first offering is Simply Sit, and we invite you to join us and experience everyday presence with Simply Sit, which is a weekly series of free mindfulness experiential practices that can be easily learned and integrated into everyday life. These begin Thursday, September 27th at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time and will be uploaded to YouTube. They last about 30 minutes and continue most Thursdays except for holidays. Imagine being able to do these in the comfort of your own home whenever needed. Our second offering is for those who want to dive deeper. This is a robust 9-week affordable course taught by trained professionals beginning in late January of 2026. After an introductory lesson, each of the additional 8 lessons provides guided mindfulness exercises to develop and deepen your practice. Included in the course is interactive sharing, a question and answer opportunity, and audio guides for your at-home practice. See our website for more details at lifelong-ed.org. Like and subscribe to receive notifications of our new Everyday Presence podcast interviews and also the launch of our free weekly guided mindfulness practices beginning September 27th, 2025. Simply Sit. Visit our website at lifelong-ed.org for podcast and detailed course information, articles, new and old, and updates. Refer to the caption box area below the video and the video title for our website address and other pertinent websites or information. Check below the video title. So Terri and I wave goodbye and appreciate your attending our podcast today, and stay tuned for our future podcasts.